Good morning, everyone out there in Radio Land. This is Louis Biontalillo coming to you live from the beautiful School of Communication and Media here at Montclair State University with the Monday Morning Buzz. I'm here, as always, with my co-host, Kyle. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Semester's starting, so, it's up in the air at this point.
You're absolutely right. It is the first day of the spring 2021 semester. Are you excited or are you dreading? Which one?
I mean, I don't actually have classes starting till tomorrow. At least I think. I should check on that. But, so for today, I'm okay, but tomorrow is when the real thing starts.
Today, you're chilling like a villain. That's your Mondays. You got a nice common Monday to get you into the swing of the week. We got
hope
the
so.
morning buzz to hang out. You and me, Kyle, every Monday morning from 8 to 9 a.m. here on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. You excited for a great show, Kyle?
I think so.
All right, then let's get started. We're also here with our wonderful newscaster. How are you, Thomas?
I could be better, but I'm all right.
You could be better. I'm sorry to hear that. What's going on?
Nothing. I'm just nervous. I got my first class today. I'm taking a creative math type class at 5:30 tonight. So
that sounds super interesting. Not a fan of math, but I am a fan of creative. But Thomas, we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. You mind giving us our newscast real fast?
Of course. All right. So first, according to New Jersey 101.5, the New Jersey Supreme Court has ordered Governor Murphy to adjust the school funding formula to provide more money for school construction and infrastructure, including devices to safely reopen our public schools, such as ventilation devices, as there is a huge push to reopen public schools as of right now. Next, according to New Jersey 101.5, two New Jersey schools plan to freeze tuition for their students. Brookdale Community College and Ocean Community College will freeze tuition rates for incoming students. Both colleges cited the financial burden imposed by the COVID-19 pandemic. Finally, also in COVID news, according to NewJersey.com, New Jersey has reported 3,938 new cases of COVID and 26 deaths. However, the rate of transmission has hit a 6-month low, with the rate of transmission being 0.87, the lowest since August, where the rate was also 0.87. Your weather for today is a high of 29 degrees with a low of 14 degrees. Now back to you guys.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Thomas. And now, Matt, since yesterday was the big game, as we're allowed to say, why don't you hit us with the 2-minute sports warning?
Good morning. Good morning. On Saturday, first, we're not going to talk about the big game, but on Saturday, both the women's and men's Montclair State basketball teams played against William Patterson twice, and the Redhawks swept the weekend. Both teams will take on Keene University on February 12th and February 13th, so hopefully we get another sweep. And happy Monday, everyone. Last night was the big game. Tampa Bay Bucks hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. Game started off moderately low scoring, starting with the Chiefs field goal, followed by 2 touchdowns in a row by the Bucks, both to Gronkowski. The Chiefs answered those 2 touchdowns with a field goal, and then yet another touchdown was scored by Tampa Bay as Tom Brady threw his 3rd touchdown of the first half, this time to Antonio Brown, making it 21-6 at halftime. The Chiefs started with the ball at half, but put up yet another field goal, which opened the door to Tampa Bay, who scored yet another touchdown. This time was a rushing one from Leonard Fournette. Then bad gets worse for the Chiefs when Patrick Mahomes throws an interception, which the Bucks turn into a field goal, making it 31-9. The Chiefs with the chance to score just about 11 yards away, but could not capitalize despite Patrick Mahomes giving it his all. Giving the ball back to Tampa Bay and never really getting another shot, Tom Brady and the Bucks won 31-9, giving Brady his 7th ring and most likely solidifying his GOAT status. And then in the NBA, the Knicks lost yesterday to the Heat, but they made a trade for former MVP Derrick Rose, so not the worst of days. The Knicks will get another shot at the Miami Heat tomorrow. In the NHL, the Rangers will be taking on the Islanders tonight. And then today in history, in 1986, Spud Webb, standing at 5'7", won the NBA dunk contest. Talk about an underdog. I'll have to send it back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks so much, Matt. And I do have a few questions for you, and I think we're gonna have a lot of questions for you
All right.
to analyze a little bit this big game that happened. But my first gut reaction, I watched the whole game, the whole thing through from the pre-show. I watched the actual game. I watched the commercials, the halftime, and we'll be talking about all of that. But strictly from the game, this was supposed to be the new GOAT versus the old, the
Yeah, that's what I
alpha
thought
and
too.
the omega, the beginning and the end. And it
Yep.
ended up being 31-9 with Mahomes not scoring a single touchdown throughout
Yeah.
the entire game.
I feel the same exact way. Going into the game, I was predicting that like, oh my God, it's gonna be like 40-43 at the end of the game. It's gonna be who can score more touchdowns. And then like the Bucks defense came out and we're like, we're stronger than you, Patrick.
Yeah, my sister, her name's Kristen. I was talking with my sister Kristen about the game yesterday before it happened, and she goes, "This is going to be a game of the defense." And we all said, "No way. They are all too amazing. There's going to be touchdowns here, touchdowns there.
Yeah.
There's going to be fumbles, there's going to be interceptions. It's going to be the biggest of big games I've ever seen." Do you think
Yeah.
she was right? A defensive game that was last night?
It wasn't necessarily a defensive game because the Bucks scored a bunch of
Right.
points, but the Bucks defense like literally won the game for them. Like it was defensive for the Bucks, but they also played offense. So like they had both of the pillars, and the Chiefs just couldn't do either. Like, the Chiefs look bad on offense and bad on defense, and it's just not the team that we saw in the regular season. They went like 14-1 with Patrick Mahomes as a starter, and then they come out into the Super Bowl and get blown out. It's not what we thought was going to happen.
Yeah, no, I'm strictly very disappointed in Mahomes personally tonight. But you know what? You win some, you lose some. We know that this was going to happen eventually to this guy. He's been winning. He's been winning.
But
He's been winning.
He's so good. Like if you saw the game, you saw him putting his whole entire heart on the line. Like he was making plays when his teammate wouldn't. Like he was just juking out the defensive lineman, rushing him, and then like throwing it as he's diving, and then just like giving his receivers a chance. And I saw one, it went straight into his face and dropped it.
I saw two of those.
Where it's just Patrick Mahomes scrambling for 10 seconds, just like getting annihilated, and then he makes a amazing throw, and then his receivers can't help him. It's just disappointing.
Definitely, for sure. And I'll bring everyone into the conversation here. This was the first, like, okay, I know we're calling it the big game, but this was the first large sporting event that this guy, he just lost, like, miserably. He's usually very in high spirits during the game, during any of his games, any of his events. He's always in high spirits. You could see the look of the determination. Last night, I saw him for the first time look like he was under a rock. I saw his face. And he did not look too happy.
You know what I'm excited for, though? Next year.
Why is that?
Oh my gosh. Patrick Mahomes is going to set the league on fire next year. Like, you saw his face. He looked so miserable. You know that he's going to work 3 times as hard this offseason.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah. My question is, and this is to Kyle too, I don't know how much you know about Patrick Mahomes, but just from a spirit point of view, do you think that this huge loss in the big game is going to inspire him to work harder this offseason, or do you think that it's going to totally defeat him? Because we see sometimes these big guys, they lose one game and then that's it. They're out. They feel pity for themselves.
Well, to start off with your how much I know about this guy, I pretty much just found out his name when you said it, so that gives you an idea.
Good.
But I have a feeling like people, like there are certain people who take that loss and turn it into motivation. Like they don't focus on it being a bad thing. They say, okay, I did this wrong. I have to work harder to get better. So I don't know him personally or even well enough to say what kind of person he would be, but I have the feeling like he would use it to work harder. Because you said he's usually in high spirits, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. But there was one player on that field last night that I think took the cake. And I think we can all agree on who this MVP was. In the fourth quarter of the game, a fan ran onto the field, evaded two security guards, and went on to the broadcast, which was made by CBS, where they quickly cut away and went to commercial, which I'm sure a lot of people were upset about.
Best run of the night.
Absolutely, especially in the fourth quarter. Like, we all knew the game was over. I said the game was over by halftime. But by the fourth quarter, I was like, okay, the game's really over. It was the best source of entertainment I could have asked for in the fourth quarter of that game last night. So definitely MVP. I'll be wondering when he's getting inducted into the Hall of Fame.
I mean, if he evaded two security guards, he probably could do well on a team.
That's what I'm saying. Like he has all those good maneuvers. We're gonna have to get the guys on ESPN to analyze his moves.
I think it was Jim Nance, the announcer, and I think it was him that said, "Somebody get him a contract." I thought that was.
Yeah, for sure. Somebody get him a contract. But here's one bad piece of news. The reason that they cut away was because the man, while he was wearing black shorts, he did attempt to remove them fully. But by the time that he did, the security got up to him. The cameras were already away from him. He didn't get his 15 seconds of fame. He got about 5 seconds of fame. But I don't know who he is, unfortunately. Personally,
Make the highlight.
say it again, Tom.
Not gonna make the highlight.
Not going to make the highlight reel. No, I don't know about that. But you know what? I think we all can agree he definitely should. MVP of the game last night. All right. So enough. Well, not enough, but we'll get back to it in a little bit. About the actual big game. Besides the actual sporting event that was happening, there was also a live concert going on. We had the Pepsi halftime show, which was with The Weeknd last night. There was some mixed reviews on that. Who saw that? Who in here saw the halftime show?
I did.
I caught
right,
some of it.
All right, everyone saw a bit of the halftime show, so I'm gonna go around. We're gonna do a round robin here, round table. Kyle, what'd you think of the halftime show?
I mean, you were talking about this before we started the show, how you focus more on like the spectacle of it rather than the actual act of the person. And I think nowadays that's where I fall too, because I'm not a huge fan of any of the people who usually play. Like last year was Shakira and J-Lo, I believe, and they're not like anywhere near my top favorite artists. So I wasn't really focused on the music they were playing, more like the theatrics of it, like the choreography and stuff like that. And I think that's what I was focused on during this show too, like the whole stands of that whole crowd of people doing it. And then when he went backstage and did that kind of like fake vlog thing where it looked like he was holding the camera. So I actually, that last part I just mentioned, I thought that was really cool how he went off the amazing stage and it went completely virtual where nobody else could have seen him. And he had that quote unquote handheld camera, because obviously there was somebody behind that camera holding it. And then as the camera zoomed back, a bunch of people rushed in on him.
Yeah, it was an interesting show overall. So I like your analysis, Kyle. What do you think, Matt?
I had to say I kind of enjoyed it. I'm kind of a Weekend kind of guy. Like, I'm not the biggest fan, but like all those songs that he played, I've like listened to before, and I really liked Blinding Lights. Like, that was like, I listened to that like every single day when it like first came out. I was like, this song is awesome. It like such good vibes. And then when they had like all the people standing out on the field like in the same like uniform, like the red jumpsuit and the white face mask, that reminded me. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie Us, but
No.
I've heard of it.
They all wear the red jumpsuits, and like the son wears like a white like creepy mask, and like it looked exactly like them. But I also like how they had like the lights on their hands, remind me of Iron Man. I'm a big Marvel guy. And then like they're all like really in sync. And I thought it was a really good performance, like visually. And like the singing could have been better, but what can you expect from a guy that's like actually doing it live? So like
Yeah.
I thought it was a really good show overall.
For sure. And Thomas, what do you think?
Yeah, I definitely have to agree. I like Blinding Lights too, but honestly, I didn't know The Weeknd was still popular because like I don't really like keep up with that kind of thing. Because I remember like when I that they were like that was like when I wasn't even in high school yet. Honestly, like I was in like probably like eighth grade, and like they started to like become popular, and I'm like, oh, they're doing a halftime show.
Yeah, I think Can't Feel My Face came out in 2015.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, that's crazy.
That makes me feel old.
So, I have a confession to make, and I am going to make it on the live airwaves here on this beautiful Monday morning, February 8th, 2021, the day after the big game. Before this past year, I did not know. I knew some of the music, but I did not know who sang this music. I did not hear of The Weeknd. I never heard of them before. And the only reason that I knew when I heard that the halftime show was going to be The Weeknd, the only reason I knew who that was. Can anyone guess? Anyone want to take a prediction?
Because of that, because they said that he's gonna do the halftime show.
No. So good guess though. Anybody else?
Grammys?
Nope, not the Grammys.
Huh?
Thomas, you have a guess?
Um, Commercials?
Nope. The only reason I've ever heard of The Weeknd before was because of TikTok. The only reason. Because if you're unaware, can't even think of the song. What's the song called?
Blinding Lights?
Blinding Lights. Blinding Lights was like a huge pandemic sensation on TikTok. Like I remember the dance, like ba ba da 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 da, the whole thing. Listen, I could sing one bar. Kyle looked at me like what are you doing? Singing live on air? That's disgusting.
I'm
Listen,
just worried about like licensing and copyright.
yeah, honestly, I was probably so out of tune that's not even a concern. If I could sing that good that like they think that I'm the actual song, there's a problem going on there. I also found it impressive once I did find. So I knew The Weeknd. I knew that they played that one song, but then I found out that they played all of these other songs, and each song I was more and more impressed that I liked all of this music from the same artist, and I had no idea it was the same artist. We're talking 2016 Starboy, 2015's The Hills, to Can't Feel My Face, to I Feel It Coming, Save Your Tears. My God. I'm sorry. A really fantastic lineup of songs. Whether they were sung appropriately and correctly and nicely, might have been a lost cause for that. I don't know if you picked up on that. Obviously, he was singing live, which is unusual for a live event, live televised event, excuse me. But the vocals were not there. Anybody got any opinions there?
I said it earlier. I was like, I really liked it visually, and like all the dancing was really good, but like the singing could have been better. But like you got to give him credit because he is putting himself out there, doing it live. Not you don't see that too often on the halftime show.
All
But
right.
there were some moments I was like, ah.
So Matt, you're pretty positive about it. You
Yeah.
don't fault him.
Yeah.
All right, Kyle.
Well, I'm with Matt. Like, maybe it wasn't great, but you have to give him the respect for singing live, and especially as a person who really likes like the whole bands and stuff, like rock bands and stuff. I really think singing live has become something of a lost what's the word? Lost
Art. A lost
Thank you.
art.
Thank you. Lost art. Yeah.
The
Because
lost
like
art
like
of
we
live
said, like
televised singing.
exactly. Because like we said, like a lot of it's pre-recorded, especially for like the halftime show during the big game.
Yeah. I was impressed that he decided to sing live, was not impressed by the vocals. But then again, let's be honest, most of your favorite artists can't sing like that while performing like that. I do want to take a nod to the background dancers for a second. There was a lot of them, and they covered the entire field. Dressed in a red jacket, a white type of helmet, mask, headband thingy, which, by the way, I thought was a very clever way to mask them all without looking like they were masked.
Yeah.
Like I have to say, like, I'm trying to think of what I have to say. All right, I got what I have to say. Very clever, because they were gonna have to wear masks, and I don't know about you guys, but personally, it really grinds my gears, as they say, which it shouldn't. It really shouldn't, but it grinds my gears when I see background dancers wearing masks, simply because I don't like the look of it. Should they be doing it? Absolutely. I'm all for it. I just hate the look of it.
Yeah.
So I thought this was a great way, and I was like, wow, that's pretty clever. Obviously, not every artist, not every background dancer can do something like this. Otherwise, then it's the new mask, and that'll grind my gears as well. But I thought this was a really super duper clever way.
And I believe like all the backup dancers were wearing something that was reminiscent of what The Weeknd wore to. I don't think it was the Grammys. It was another music award show
Yeah, I
that
heard
happened
that.
recently.
I heard that. I don't remember what it was. Anybody else have an idea?
No,
I think
I
I'm.
did see that he like said that he was getting face like plastic surgery on his face, and that like he posted a picture of him wearing that mask and like that like jumpsuit.
Yeah.
I still can't remember where it came from.
From what I remember me and Amanda talking about, it was something to do with like it was like a gimmick at the award show to like send a message about like drunk driving. I think it was something like that. It because he looked like badly damaged when he went up to accept the reward, but it turns out no, this is just for me to send a message. And I think that's what what all the backup dancers were going with during the during the actual show. But I bring that up because I wanted to say, like, when I first saw that outfit that has kind of become part of his act now, I got like heavy Slipknot vibes because I'm the whole like rock and metal person. I don't know if anyone else did, but like when I saw it from afar, from like one of those wide shots at the award show, I'm like, I didn't know Slipknot showed up to this award show, and I'm like, oh wait, that's not them.
So another thing that impressed me about this Super Bowl, I'm sorry, excuse me, the Big Games halftime show. My apologies. For those of you who don't know, we're not allowed to say that on air. It is a copyrighted phrase. But anyway, so with the Big Game halftime show, another thing that impressed me was that they did not have a special guest this year. Almost every year, it seems that there's a special guest somewhere in the halftime show. And this is the first year in a long, long time, if not ever, that there was not a musical guest. So I don't know if any of you caught that. No? Nobody caught
The
that?
Weeknd was a musical guest now.
No,
I did catch that. I thought when the stage like opened, I was like, oh, who's coming out? Who's coming out? And then he went into it. I was like, oh wow, like I was not expecting that because I thought there was gonna be somebody that was gonna help him out.
Yeah, I actually didn't notice that until you brought it up because I didn't like make that connection that there was going to be or was supposed to be another person.
Yeah, it's not. They don't have to, but typically they do.
Yeah.
Is it?
One thing that I really found impressive about this halftime show was the amount of money put into it. And this is from Yahoo.com. The Weeknd put $7 million of his own money into his Super Bowl halftime performance. I'm sorry, I did it again. The Big Game halftime performance. My apologies. We're good on air though. Anyway,
I'm sorry, 7 million of his own money?
of his own money.
Oh my gosh.
How impressive is that? Like, you don't hear about that often, especially because if I'm correct, and somebody can fact check me on this, I don't believe that they get paid to do the halftime show. I don't believe that's something that happens. Yeah, they definitely don't.
I feel like I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, they make a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, like indirectly. Like now, I'm sure everyone's listening to The Weeknd. It's the biggest audience, especially like right now. There's no concerts going on. I'm sure that he was happy to get.
Yeah, definitely going to see a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of like his old hits hit the top of the charts probably again.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely for sure.
Yeah.
So usually the Super Bowl itself pays for the production. But it would
Said it again.
I know. Uh, they usually get. Oh my goodness. Usually the committee pays for the production of the entire thing, but it wasn't enough money for the weekend. The weekend wanted to add that extra money into there, which I honestly very much respect. Listen, $7 million to somebody who has that much money is like us dropping $100.
Yeah.
But still,
Yeah.
I knew
I
that.
mean,
I knew that he was spending that much money going into it. So like the entire show, I was like, where's that money going into? Where's that money going into? And I couldn't really think of it. I was thinking maybe that's like all the backup dancers that he's paying, and
yeah.
like the pyrotechnics, like all the fireworks coming out of the stadium, and then maybe he paid for that big setup underneath the stadium, like that all that gold like area where he took the back camera.
Right. Yeah, because there's a lot of things that like a lot of people don't account for when they're thinking of like how much has to get paid. Because of course it's all the lights and the theatrics and all that stuff, but you also have to pay for the backup dancers, like you said. And I assume like
the
this
stage, the stage that
yeah,
had to be a expensive stage, because let me tell you, that was beautiful. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
Oh yeah, no problem. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. And like not just the static stage, because like you mentioned, the stage opened up and he went into it. So that must have cost a few extra as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm getting specific numbers here again from Yahoo, that the big games production committee gives about $10 million, about roughly, each year for the halftime show. I almost did it again.
And that wasn't enough?
Yeah, for only a 12 to 15-minute show. So you do the math. That's about $1 million a minute that you're losing there. And we'll get more about costs of advertising during the big game, and we'll get to that because that impresses me every year. But anyway, the weekend didn't think that was enough money and started $7 million. So the weekend's also, just want to put this out here, the weekend's net worth is estimated to be somewhere between 80 to $100 million. So yeah, that's a decent amount of money he put into his own show. Because if he put $7 million in and he's between 80 and 100, that's almost 10% of what his net worth is. So I would assume he's really banking on his streams going up. He's banking on merchandise going up. And I think he's definitely banking, when this whole pandemic fiasco is eventually over, getting those packed stadiums once again.
I mean, he didn't butcher a classic SpongeBob song in his show, so I think he's in good faith with most of the people.
Oh yeah, that was the other thing. That was the last thing I really wanted to talk about. So the big games production committee really was trying to get a younger generation with this show. And after the fiasco that was Maroon 5, first of all, they were actually really worried, reportedly. So they were trying to bait a younger generation to watch the biggest event of the year, because they did notice that our generation watches the big game less, not by much, less than older generations. They want to make sure that never changes. The big game, they want to be the sporting event, the biggest television event of the year.
Yeah. So I can't expect to see, like, I don't know, the Rolling Stones playing the halftime show anytime soon, I guess.
You know what, Kyle? I think that they don't understand that we also like classic rock. And it very much upsets me. I think that all they think that we like is pop, rap, little R&B.
It hurts a bit. Kind of hurts.
Yeah, you look 10 years ago, The Who played, but besides that, it's pretty much all pop every year.
Yeah.
And I know she usually doesn't like to be involved, but our producer, Amanda, says she's waiting for Foo Fighters. You know, Amanda, that makes two of us.
I've got fingers crossed for Shinedown.
Oh, yeah? That'd be actually a really good one.
Yeah, I'd love to see them, but I think it's a far, far away dream.
Yeah, I would also say it's a far away dream, but I think it would be a good one. Has Lady Gaga ever done it? I can't recall. Oh, she did. Okay. So I have to watch that back because I would imagine that Lady Gaga would do like the best halftime show I've ever seen. Um, I'm trying to think of what other artists today would put on like a show. I'm trying to think of like showmanship, not musical artistry. There's no like huge figures. Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Lady Gaga was the one who jumped into the stadium off the side. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
It's faint, but I kind of remember it.
I think that one was like extra long too. Like some of the players were complaining about being in halftime too long.
Yeah, I personally loved it. But whatever. Anyway,
To go off what you were saying, I think somebody that would like really like steal the show, the Travis Scott. Usually at his concerts, he like will have like a roller coaster, like a mini like roller coaster for Astro World, his popular album. So he would probably put on like a really big like visual like effects in his show.
Wait, who's the special guest that played with Maroon 5? Wasn't that Travis Scott too, or was that someone else?
No. That was wasn't that the Hot Chili Peppers or something like that? So this that was like a bunch of guys that took their shirts off. I remember that.
Yeah, Red Hot Chili Peppers, but I don't remember them
Oh
playing.
no, that was with Bruno Mars. That was
Yeah.
with Bruno Mars. We're asking Maroon 5. Let's look it up.
Because I'm pretty sure the whole Sweet Victory fiasco was Maroon 5, and I think they had Travis Scott as a special guest, but I could be very
yeah.
wrong.
It was
was.
Travis Scott. It was
Okay, yeah.
Travis Scott. So I have to say, overall, final reviews of the halftime show. I was a fan of the production. Oh, one last thing, promise. This is the last thing on the halftime show. There's always a meme on the big game. This was the meme. There was a portion of the halftime show that he goes inside this structure of some type. That's the only way I could describe it. Can you guys give a better word? I just think of structure.
Golden walls.
Yeah,
Oh,
there was
Yeah.
golden walls. There was mirrors.
Funhouse mirrors.
It was very psychedelic in that kind of way. And there's some really darn good memes out there right now about it. So if you would like to see some good memes,
I saw one, and it was Patrick Mahomes looking for an open receiver, and it was like the weekend, like, and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, Patrick.
oh, that poor man. That poor man. I feel very bad. But we'll be back on the Morning Buzz with more talk about the big game. We're going to be talking about a little bit more about the actual game itself, a little bit more on the halftime show, but a lot on the commercials when we return to the Morning Buzz.
The average time a resume spends on an HR manager's desk is 7 seconds, and most of them are tossed aside. Now imagine if one of those resumes belonged to Yasmin, who was
Living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
We rely so much on a resume, yet it could never tell the full story of someone who
Had to be independent and take initiative. And that's how I handle every project I get.
discovered new ways to develop great talent at gradsoflife.org. Brought to you by Grads of Life and the Ad Council.
Every day, across this country, hundreds of college radio stations take to the air, broadcasting music and programming that you won't hear anywhere else.
It's one of the last places where people can really be able to actually say what they want to say.
Without it, you wouldn't have a place for local artists to perform. Certain people need to have a chance, a fighting chance, and college radio is that place for it.
College radio changes the lives of those who are involved with it and can change those who listen to it too.
This is where we start out, you know? From getting all this great experience working in college radio, it makes you want to work in real radio.
College radio means finding yourself. It helped me find what I wanted to do in not only school, but in life.
So support college radio by continuing to listen to this station and supporting the students who make it happen. College radio, now, more than ever. A message brought to you by this station and the College Radio Foundation. For more information, please visit collegeradio.org.
Cyber attacks, nuclear war, security dilemmas. It's the stuff of the biggest blockbusters Hollywood has to offer. But it's also the stuff of the minor in global security and diplomacy here as part of the political science department at Montclair State University. You don't have to be a political science major to sign up for the minor, though. We have students who are majoring in business, jurisprudence, computer programming, and so many other areas. You just have to be ready to expand your horizons and your worldview in order to deepen your understandings of your possibilities as a global citizen. The minor will foster your knowledge about the causes and dynamics of peace and security, the complexities of the 21st century security environment, the study of industrialized and emerging market societies, and so much more. The minor requires only 18 credits, which is 6 classes, 3 required and 3 electives in political science. Now, you may be asking yourself, what can I do with a minor in global security? You can go into the corporate world, foreign service, work for international organizations like the UN, think tanks, you could do nonprofits, you could do anything with this minor. This minor will help you maximize your employment opportunities in the fields of diplomacy, security, human rights, international law, trade policy, and so much more. If you have any questions, email Professor Toro Carnivali at the Political Science and Law Department. You can drop by his office in Dixon 204, or you can get more information by checking out the political science page on www.montclair.edu.
Hey, you're listening to 90.3 WMSC, Upper Montclair, where music stays cool. Cooler than a dog on a skateboard. Okay, I take that back, but we're still pretty cool.
On an ice rink, 200 feet long and 85 feet wide, there wages a battle between athletes that have prepared their whole lives for this moment. A war of attrition, of speed, of skill, and a love for a relentless game of hockey that they have owed their entire lives to. The sport of hockey can be cruel and unforgiving, but it teaches valuable lessons of hard work, dedication, and preparation. A silver chalice, the greatest reward, hockey's holy grail. And there is only one place and time where 3 men have dedicated their entire lives and careers to bringing you the news of this great game. And that is Deeks and Dangles from 3 to 4 p.m. on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair.
What's up, guys? You're listening to the Chainsmokers, and you're now tuned in to 90.3 WMSD.
Welcome back to the Morning Buzz here on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, New Jersey, broadcasting live from the beautiful School of Communication and Media. Wow, it feels so good to say that again. Happy spring semester, everyone. If you're just joining us, I'm Louis Biontalillo, joined as always with the beautiful, the lovely, the microphoned, green-screened man who looks like this is about me right now. This is Kyle Pepitone. How you doing?
I'm good, but you said beautiful and you kind of threw me off.
Listen, man, I think everyone in this Zoom chat has a beautiful, sparkling face and personality. You're not gonna like reciprocate that love?
Oh, I mean, yes, to you too. I'm sorry, I forgot we're not really totally on video, so I kind of did a flattered look, but I realized probably half of our viewers didn't know that.
No. Our viewers knew it, but our
listeners
did not. Mr. Kyle, you have to understand, this is radio. This is college radio, and it's needed now more than ever. Sorry, that was a callback. If you were listening, that was a callback. And welcome back. If you're just joining us, we've been talking about the big game that happened yesterday. Mahomes slipped up. Brady was triumphant yet again. Pretty much what a lot of people were expecting, but we weren't expecting the blowout. But we've been talking about not only the game, not only the halftime, but now the most important part of the entire day, the biggest television event of the year, the commercials. Most of the time, it's those things that you skip. Most of the time, you're like, all right, it's bathroom break time. But on one day a year, the bathroom time, for me, honestly, is during the actual production of the game. So I enjoy the commercials almost as much as I enjoy everything else about the day. But this year was definitely a lot different than most in the fact that it kind of was a little off. There was a lot of companies that decided not to invest in advertisements during the game, and instead, a lot of them put it towards pandemic relief funds. A lot of these companies. So we have to give credit where it's due. We didn't get as many funny ads as we normally do. We still got some, and we'll talk about it. But I think it's a small price to pay for the amount of money that a lot of these companies are sending over to pandemic relief funds. So I applaud them personally. I don't know how you guys feel. You guys might have preferred the funny commercials. By all means, every person has their preferences.
I mean, everybody's got to love funny commercials, but, and to overuse this phrase once more, in these uncertain times, I think it's better that they put their money toward COVID relief. I think I can go a year without humorous advertisements if it means getting out of this fiasco faster.
You know, Kyle, you are on the Zoom right now, so you're not in studio. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. If you say in these uncertain times one more time, I am muting you.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. I saw that there was a game that there was like every time that you hear somebody say these uncertain times during the big game, you have to take a sip of your soda. So I thought that was funny. But okay, we're going to start with the commercials now. I hope that all of you have your favorites. But my personal favorite was this, and I'm going to play it for you right now. It was really, really dumb to some people, but this is by a company called Oatly. You'll just hear the audio, and that's all that you need to hear. Okay? So here's a little bit of it.
Wow, no cow. No. Wow, no cow. No. Wow, no cow.
Okay, I think that's enough. I think that that was a commercial again for Oatly, which is an oat milk company. And we're not advertising them, trust me. We're gonna make fun of this company for this commercial. I have to say that this was one of the most interesting commercials I have ever seen. It is just a man sitting in a field. The man is the CEO of the company. The CEO of the company is sitting in a field with a very, very, very portable piano. And he has a thing of the oat milk product on the piano. And he's just singing, and may I add, very poorly, wow, no cow.
I don't know. Some might argue that he sung better than The Weeknd.
Wow.
That was very, very good. But you know, I do have to say, at least for my individual family, this was the winner of the commercials yesterday, simply for the fact that we could not stop singing it and talking about it. And now I kind of want to try it. So if we're talking about which commercial made me want to try their product, this is the only one that like made me like, wow, there's no cow. I have to try it. But very clever, very, you could call it a low budget commercial, but I don't think anything in the big game is a low budget commercial. The production of this commercial is definitely low budget. It's one shot, literally one shot. He's sitting in an open field. There was no set, no nothing. I think the most expensive thing that they had to order was a portable piano, which he probably already had and was like, let's just go into a field and rent a camera.
That probably also could have been shot like on an iPhone if they had it.
Oh, definitely. It definitely could have. You see all those commercials about like iPhone cinema. People are filming on their iPhones. This is something that could have been done. One thing that's notable about this specific commercial, though, it's not a new one. It's just the first time you're seeing it. The first time it's posted on YouTube dates back to 2017.
Really?
If you're doing the math, and it's hard for me to still think that we're in 2021. That's 4 years ago. So I'm surprised I never heard of this. It's not that great of a commercial, but when you put it on the biggest stage, the biggest television event, and really biggest event of the year because
Yeah.
there's no in-person events, really fantastic commercial. Well done. I have to give them applause.
That is marketing 101 right there.
Yeah, for sure. Was there any commercials that you guys were like, we have to talk about this one?
Yeah, the one thing that caught my eye, like every single time, because it appeared multiple times, was all the various characters from the different shows going up Paramount Mountain. I thought that was really clever, and I thought that was like something that I'm definitely gonna do research about. Like, oh, what shows are gonna be on this new streaming site? Because like there's already Disney Plus, Hulu, Netflix, all these like streaming sites. and there's
HBO
gonna be
Max.
like what shows could possibly that aren't on any other ones going to be on this one? Like what makes Paramount Mountain so special compared to the other ones? So I'm definitely going to like be interested in seeing what kind of shows are going to be on here.
So it's owned by CBS. So anything that CBS owns will most likely be on this. It's important to note CBS did actually have a different streaming service for a while. It was called CBS All Access. And on that, on CBS All Access, they had things, pretty much anything from their network, anything from Nickelodeon, which is a huge deal, by the way. Nickelodeon is a huge property to have.
Will it be like old Nick too, like 90s stuff?
You know what? They haven't confirmed really anything. However, I would imagine that old Nickelodeon shows would be on there. Like, can you imagine having every episode of Drake and Josh?
They actually kind of have that already. If you go on like the TeenNick website, they have like some like old episodes of Drake.
Oh, really? Okay. All right. So maybe it'll be a negative. Maybe we'll be losing that kind of stuff because I imagine that they won't give it to you for free online.
Oh, no.
If they're going to have a premium service to pay for. I'm personally a fan of one CBS show that most others absolutely hate, and that is Big Brother.
I love Big Brother.
Matt, we can be
can't believe
very
you
good
said that.
friends. Are you on campus? Because
I
we're
am.
friends. We're friends. Anyway, so
Big Brother, oh, it's so good.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I, for one, am very excited to rewatch Dora.
Oh, I saw that and I said, "Wow, there's no cow, but there's Dora." That was a callback. I liked that one. I'm proud. You know what? I'm proud of that. People might shame what I just said, but I am proud that I did a callback to the previous advertisement. And I know some people are excited, and I've never heard of this before. I've seen them, but Beavis and Butthead.
Beavis
and Butthead, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Are you a fan of that? Yeah, no.
Who we asking?
Anybody. I'm
I
assuming
mean,
the
I've
answer
heard
is
of
no.
them, but I've never, like, I'm with you. I've never actually seen them, so
too.
I don't know too much of them. I know they wear like metal bands on shirts, so maybe it's something to do with that I would like about them.
I've never been like, oh, Beavis and Butthead's on. Let me turn it on. Like if I've seen it, I'm like nah, just keep going.
Right. So I'm sure we're going to be talking a lot more about this new Paramount Plus. But just for starters, what we know so far about it, and again, I think this is an excellent advertisement that they did on the big game because we're talking about it. I didn't know about it before. Great job. On March 4th, their old one, CBS All Access, will be no more and will forever be known by its new name, which will offer over 30,000 episodes from shows that were originally broadcasted on Viacom CBS. Like, this is all that's included in it. Bet, Comedy Central, MTV, Nickelodeon, and more. And I'm sure also that they're going to have some originals because they all try to do originals. I know that it's not really like the biggest reason to subscribe to a new streaming service, but it'll be interesting there. And if you want to know cost, they did release that as well. We can't speak on it on the radio. However, they did release it. It launches on March 4th. So I'm impressed with that ad as a whole. Are there any more that like you guys were like, oh, we have to talk about this specifically?
I forget exactly what company it was, but it was the one with Will Ferrell where they essentially declared war on Norway. I don't know if anyone else saw that one, but it was like a car commercial, but it ended with like, "We're coming for you, Norway," and it seemed very vaguely threatening to me.
I didn't see that. Do you know what it was for?
I'm getting word that it's for GM, General Motors, I believe. So basically, I'm going to do my best to explain it, but it was Will Ferrell, and he's like, Norway is beating us in like car manufacturing.
Oh, yes.
So then he punches his hand through a globe and then starts gathering people and winds up in Switzerland or Sweden. It's one of the two, and I always get them mixed up.
Yeah,
which one was it?
It was an interesting commercial.
Yeah.
Definitely not my favorite. That goes to Wow No Cow. But it was definitely an interesting one.
It just very much confused me first seeing it. Yeah, it was Sweden, but it very much confused me because I didn't know what it was talking about, and it seemed vaguely threatening to the country of Norway, and I didn't know what was going on.
That's very funny. There's one commercial that a lot of people had their heads shaking about, and I'm screen sharing if you're watching here on Facebook Live. Can you guys see this?
Yeah.
Okay, this is from Reddit. It's a 7-second ad. We're gonna play it real fast. And that's it. That's their ad. It's 7 seconds. If you didn't get to see it and you just heard the really loud cracking, it starts with what looks like it's going to start with a car commercial. Like it tricks you into that. And then it cuts into like this
standby screen.
A standby screen with the Reddit name on it. And then, and this is the best part, it shows a Reddit post for about 3 seconds. It said, "Wow, this actually worked. If you're reading this, it means our bet paid off. Big game spots are expensive, so we couldn't buy a full one. But we were inspired and decided to spend our entire marketing budget on 5 seconds of airtime. One thing we learned from our communities last week is that underdogs can accomplish just about anything when they come together around a common idea," and that's referring to the stock market. Who knows? Maybe you'll be the reason finance textbooks have to add a chapter on tendies. Maybe you'll help the I can't say that. Teach the world about the majesty of owls. Maybe you'll even pause this 5-second ad. Powerful things happen when people rally around something they really care about, and there's a place for that. It's called Reddit. And I have to say, very impressed. I saw it, and I was intrigued. And you know what? That's really all I can ask for from a big game advertisement. So
yeah, pretty much.
Those are my picks for the best big game advertisements yesterday. Again, I thought that they were pretty low quality compared to most years. What do you guys think now that we saw all that?
Yeah, I think there was maybe, I don't want to say less effort, but like time and energy was probably spent elsewhere when coming up with these things. Because like you said, Oat Milk used one from 3-4 years ago. But I think a lot of companies might have been focusing a bit more on like COVID relief and all that kind of stuff to have a marketing team sit together and write, let's find the funniest big game ad that we can make.
Right. So that's all we have for the big game ads. But as we're wrapping up our show soon, we do have our weekly segment. Am I going in and out for you guys? Because in my headphones, I'm going in and out. No? Okay.
You're fine for us.
Cool. So we have with us Emma. How are you today, Emma?
I am good. Happy first day of the semester, everyone.
Woohoo! All right, so tell us everything that we need to know.
All right, so I still have some, the big game coverage to talk about, because what else is there to talk about, right?
Nothing.
So I really want to talk about Tom Brady because this is something that's very much talked about in my area in Philly, especially after we won the big game a few years ago against the New England Patriots, which is Tom Brady's former team. He was with them for years. But I really felt like last night's big game came down to whether or not you love Tom Brady or not, especially around here. I mean, it was, who are you rooting for? It was somebody either said Brady or I don't like Brady, to me, around here. Ooh, sorry, that is the fire siren. I live right next to a firehouse, so
Wow.
that.
Wow. Hold on. No, that was a good sound effect. Like I don't. Hold on. I don't know if I could beat it. Here, listen, real fast. That's all I got to conflict with that. So I've
It should
Fire
be
Station 1, Lewis 0. Anyway, keep going.
All right, it's ending. Great. Perfect timing. So obviously the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which is Brady's new team, won last night, and this is now his 7th big game win, I think. Brady is also one of the oldest players in the league at 43 years old. And as an example, my mom told me this, and I was like, oh my God, when Brady won his first Super Bowl, opposing team, Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes was only 6 years old when that happened. So it kind of puts the whole thing in perspective. I know the game didn't go very well for Mahomes last night, but yeah. So obviously Brady fans got a win last night, but it sort of got me thinking, like, why is it so black and white? Like, you either hate Tom Brady, you love Tom Brady. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you hate him? Do you love him?
I think there's a lot of jealousy.
Yeah.
I do have to say. I think that the reason so many people hate this poor man, at least before the past few months, was because of jealousy of him just being good. Now, in the past few months, he did reveal that he was a Trump supporter. He had a MAGA hat in the background, and some people were not a fan of that. So that's another reason that some people do not like him. But besides that, if you're putting that aside, he's a good football player.
I do want to point out, and this is the reason why a lot of people in my own household don't like him, is they have pinned him as a cheater, which, I don't know a ton about it. I've read about it, and it's really hard to tell. My dad is the one who feels very strongly about this. His argument is that if he had admitted it, he wouldn't have a problem with him. He'd be totally supportive of him and his wins. But as he says, he likes to say that he is dishonorable, which means he will not ever root for him in any game, which I totally get. If you really respect the game and sort of, I guess, I don't know, the history and importance of the rules and all that, then yes, I can totally see that.
When you said that, all I thought of was in Mulan when Mushugu's like, dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow, dishonor on your family. All right.
But there is no cow.
There's no cow. Wow.
From my point of view, I'm a Saints fan. So all these past years, I had no hard feelings towards Tom Brady. You know, he's in the AFC. I don't have to worry about him. And then this year, he comes into the NFC, beats the Saints, and now I don't like him.
Yeah, it's definitely I do think you're right, Lewis. Jealousy definitely plays a part. I think part of it too around here is just like we still remember the big game from, I think it's 2018, where Nick Foles destroyed the New England Patriots, and we're still sort of in that mindset. I mean, we all know how the fans can be around here, so we're still not over that. But yeah, I do think you're right that a lot of it is jealousy. So yeah.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Do you got any more? One really fast?
Oh gosh. All right. Well, I was going to talk about the Weeknd and his memes on Twitter. You guys talked a lot about him, so obviously I won't go into a ton of detail. My personal favorite was a screenshot of his face all up in the camera, and at Ryan Shockett on Twitter said, quote, quote, what my pizza rolls see from inside the microwave, end quote.
That was very clever. Yes. Very clever. Well, thank you so, Emma, for doing your weekly segment. We honestly, it makes the show so much better, especially towards the end. We need these laughs Lots of good times. For everyone here at the Morning Buzz here on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, my name's Louis Biontalillo.
I am Kyle Pepitone.
I'm Thomas Stutter.
And I'm Matt Brochet.
And I'm Emma Collin.
We hope you have an excellent week. Remember, today starts the spring semester, so we wish you good luck on all of your classes. Please stay safe out there when coming to campus. It is a little bit icy. And remember, we have a lot of wonderful shows coming up on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair this semester, so you can stay tuned for all that. We will catch you next week.